to memorize the Quran. That's a book about the size of the Old Testament, and for around 7 years, they learn nothing else. And for those who rebel against the system, the punishments are harsh. For trying to escape, Isa has been sentenced to 30 days in chains. He doesn't want to learn the Quran and would prefer to learn something else. Why did you escape? I don't want to learn the Quran.
Why?
Why?
Too hard work?
I want to go to a normal school.
Why?
But why? Because then I'll be able to have holidays and see my family. Why was the boy we interviewed in chains? Was he escaped? He didn't want to stay and learn the Quran. We have so many who remained chained until they'd learned all the Quran.
In the language of the Arabs, all black peoples are called abid, plural, for slaves. While much has been written concerning the transatlantic slave trade, surprisingly little attention has been paid to the Islamic slave trade across the Sahara, the Red Sea, and the Indian Ocean. A minimum of 28 million Africans were enslaved in the Muslim Middle East. Since at least 80% of those captured by Muslim slave traders were calculated to have died before reaching the slave markets, it is believed that the death toll from 1400 years of Arab and Muslim slave raids into Africa could have been as high as 112 millions.
Shalom.
It is believed that the death toll from 1400...
Shalom. I'd like to say all praise is due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Kakwadash. Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone, of whom I learned this truth from. Peace and blessings to the elect. My name's Conwat from Jeremiah, Toronto, doing this lesson, and it's going to be in regards to, I'm going to entitle the Muslims still have the Israelites in slavery, right? And our people are in slavery under the whole Islam, which Islam means to submit, right? So our people is in bondage, right, under this whole indoctrination known as Islam, right? That's why a lot of our people are converting to Islam, and especially a lot of our people that's in prison, right, means to submit. And they're bowing down, to all these idols and this idolatry, man. And it's nothing but wickedness, man. Yeah, so I'm going to bring out a couple of scriptures that I have written down. All right. And I'm going to go into this whole Islam. I'm going to go into their Quran, their dirty Quran. All right. So Genesis 17, right? Genesis 17, and I started at 17. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old, and shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? Right? So Abraham laughed, and Sarah laughed, right? But the Lord, he told Sarah, he told Sarah, that you're gonna have a child, right? So Sarah laughed and Abraham laughed, and Abraham said in his heart, and Abraham said unto Yahweh, that Israel might live before thee, right? Because remember, Ishmael came out first, right? But the Lord he's dealing with the seed of Israel, the seed of Isaac. O Abraham said unto Yahweh, O that Israel might live before thee. And Yahweh said, Sarah Thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. All right, so this is the covenant that the Heavenly Father established through Abraham and Isaac. Right, and as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. Right. So the Lord, you know, um, you know, the Lord blessed Ishmael as well, but the covenant, right, and the agreement was with Isaac, right, and that's why that these Ishmaelites, they're pissed off, right, and and they still have our people in slavery, man, right, known as the Arab slave trade to this day. Right, so let's get Genesis 16. Let's start at 11. Genesis 16 and 11. And the angel, right, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, which means heard of Yahweh, or heard of God, heard of the power, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. Right, so that this is like Hagar, she was being she's being persecuted by her master, Sarah, and he will be a wild man, right? So this is Ishmael. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of his brother. Right, that's why Ishmael is very wild. you know they will blow themselves up. They are very like they're heavy into that whole Islam, right? And like you can't defeat them, right? That's why Esau tries to go over there in the Middle East, right? And they get defeated, right? But and also when during the Dark Age, there's a thing known as the Crusades, right? And Jake, the so-called Christians, was fighting against those Arab, those Muslims, man, to try to get the Holy Land, right? But so there was many wars, right? And then Ishmael Ishmael is still occupying our land, to this day. But the real Ishmaelite, they're very dark. They're very dark, man. A lot of these Arab, they're mixed up, man. A lot of them are mixed up with the Ottoman Turks, the Khazars. It's a whole mixture, man. All right, but I will bring out this point from Babylon to Timbuktu. One second, I'll put it here. From Babylon, Timbuktu. From Babylon. You could download it as a PDF, or you could buy it. It's like about $10-$20 for this book. Very, very good book, which is the Jake. His name is Rudolph R. Windsor. He's a historian, and he goes into it. He kind of goes off and going into Japhet, that the Japhites are so-called white people, which they are not, because the Japhites were driven out, right? And then Esau came and occupied the land of Europa, or Europe. Right, so page 44. One second. So page 44. it says, now after his event, Muhammad al Abdullah was born 57 AD. He changed the religion of the entire peninsula of Arabia before he died. Right, so Muhammad was nothing but an agent by the Roman Catholic Church, right, by the Jesuits, to establish that whole religion known as Islam. The word Islam means to submit. At the time of the birth of Muhammad, we have the international event of corresponding operation. It says the Roman Empire at the birth of Muhammad was divided into two parts: the Western Empire with the capital at Rome, and the Byzantine Empire with the capital of Constantinople. Right, so they had the Western, they had the Byzantine Empire, and then they had the the Western Empire, which Jake was ruling in the so-called Dark Ages, right? Because our people was in power. Esau was in this. Esau was a slave. He's a serf, right? A lot of them were in the caves, right? Had no language, right? So it says with the defeat of the Jewish and Christian power in Arabia, the stage was set for the rise of a new power on the world scene. This new power was Arabia. The Arabian Empire, with its new religion, Islam, established the superstructure of the capital of the ruin of the Roman Empire in the Middle East, Africa, and parts of Europe. Right, so Jake ruled, like they had the Moors was ruling Spain and Portugal for over 800 years, right? Africa, they were enslaving the Hamites, enslaving the Israelites, right? And if you didn't want to submit to that whole Islam, they would kill them with the sword, right? And that's why they have the fez, right? A lot of those free, what do you call it? A lot of the Shriners, like they would dip the I'm gonna get it, the Shriners, the shrine. So yeah, a lot of the Shriners, right? Like they would dip their like their hat or their fez in blood, and would defeat the Israelites, right? And so, like, that's why a lot of those a lot of the Jake, they bowed down to that whole religion, and they became a slave, right? Following that whole religion, Islam, which is nothing but idolatry, right? And that's why Esau, he understands that, and he still follows that whole Islam or Shriners, right? Because that whole, that's nothing but you know um a false religion, right? But 1 second, there's a scripture saying, we'll find it. It's in Jeremiah. Yeah, Jeremiah 2 and verse 27, saying, to a stock thou art my father, and to a stone thou hast brought me forth. Right, and that's why Esau, Ishmael, Jake, they're going to Mecca. They're bowing down 5 times a day, walking around the Hajj, right? And they're worshiping the idol, right? And it's nothing but idolatry, right? It's really worship of of a vagina, right? a so-called moon goddess known as Alat, right? And this is what these people are worshiping. Thou hast brought me forth, for they have turned their back unto me, and not their faces. But in the time of their tribulation, they shall say, arise and save us. So, no, that's why a lot of our people, they're into that whole Islam, man. Right? So, there's another. Yeah, 1 second. I have some other points. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, so it says, page from Babylon Timbuktu, by page 47. Muhammad masterminded the first stage of his revolution by undermining and discrediting prevailing establishment beliefs and customs, and questions on their political, social, or religion instruction, right? Um, you could go into it, but basically it says that they worship over 200. Sorry, they worship over 365 idols, one for each day of the year, right? So that whole Islam is nothing but idolatry, right? I have some. I have this so-called like this dirty Quran, this Quran, right? That I had for many years ago, when I got this over Dundas Square, right? So the Quran. Let me put it the so-called Holy Quran. Yeah, this is their thing, but it's in English, right? So so this is page 4, known as the heifer. Page 4, known as the heifer, right? Verse 4. Sorry, verse 40, the heifer. So, O children of Israel, call to mind the special favor which I bestowed unto you, and fulfill your covenant with me as I fulfill my covenant with you, right? And basically, that's what the whole Islam they did by the Roman Catholic Church to incorporate this whole religion, Islam, right? And they want to establish their own religion and their own worship, and they want the Israelites to worship these Arabs, right? And you Arabs are going to go into slavery, man, right? Let's get it. Revelation 13, and it started at 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leave into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killed with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. So you Arabs, you Ishmaelites are going to go into slavery. You Muslims, right? You Arabs, you Ishmaelites, you're going into slavery, man. All right? What you have did unto our people, right? For over almost 1,000 years, from basically when that whole Islam came on the scene, was basically during the 6th century, man, right? And they have put a lot of our people to death, So it says, this is off the heifer, page 4. O children of Israel, call to mind the special favor which I bestow unto you, that I may prefer you to all others for my message, right? So that's why the Lord, he said that, like they know exactly who the Israelites are. So let's get Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy power. The Lord thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So we are above all people, man. Right? Because we are the Israelites, right? And we are the ones who the Lord has given us the seed. He has given us the promise, right? And that's why, we have the laws, right? And that's why we're the lawgivers, and we're the one that's going to, when the Israelites are 104, like when Yahweh Shai and the 144,000 get the kingdom, um, you know, they're going to execute judgment, right? Because you Ishmaelite and all you heathen are going to have to follow our laws, our protocols. And if you don't want to follow our protocols, that's your ass, right? Right? The Lord said with a two-edged sword, Psalms 149. I will get it. But it says, Romans 9:4. Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, the glory, and the covenant, and the giving of the law, and the service of Yahweh, and the promise. Right? So this is what the Lord, He's promised us, right? Where He gave us the law through Moses. Right? He has given us the covenant through Abraham, right? Like through circumcision, right? And establish, us getting our land from basically the border of Egypt to through through the Euphrates, right? This is what the Lord, He promised His servants, right? And He's going to do that. He's going to establish a new covenant, right, where the law is going to be in them. So, and the giving them the law and the service of Yahweh and the promise, and whose are the fathers, and of whom concerned the flesh Yahweh Shai came, who is over all, right? So because Yahweh Shai, He's going to be the mediator to establish this new covenant. He's going to marriage the 144,000 back to the Father, right? So there's another thing in this Quran. So this is page 71. Give me 1 second. Page 71. This is off of the table spread. This is verse 32. On that account, we ordain for the children of Israel that if anyone slew a person, unless it be for a murder or for spreading mischief in the land, if it would be as if he slew the world, he have slew the whole people, right? Right. So like basically, this is what this would be like a penalty if you disobey, if you slew a man or whatever. But it says the punishment of those who wage war against Allah and His messenger. So so this is Muhammad, right? Because they want to use the scripture in Deuteronomy that it says that He's going to send up a prophet, right? Like you Ishmaelites don't have no say in our covenant. You have no say in the Torah, right? And strive what might and maintain for mischief through the land by execution or crucifixion, man, or by cutting off hands and feet from opposite sides, and exile from the land, that their disgrace in the world, and having heavy punishment in the punishment in theirs in the hereafter, right? So those Israelites, they have dealt with our people cruel, man. You know, by like put like you see that little boy, right? He's on chains. He had to bow. He has to you know he's on like he has to worship that whole Islam, right? And if he doesn't want to worship that, he's gonna be in chains, right? So this is what they were doing and still doing to our people, man. Um, let me get this one. Let me get page. This is Jonah page. That's a whole bunch of shit. The whole Quran is nothing but a damn toilet paper, man. So Psalms, sorry, not Psalm. Page 142. This is off of the Quran. This is chapter 10, verse 90. We took the children of Israel across the Red Sea. Pharaoh, his host, followed them in insolence and spite. At length, when overwhelmed with the flood, he said, "I believe that there is no God or power except Him whom the children of Israel believe in. I am." Right, so I am of those who submit to Allah in Islam. Right, so this is nothing but they acknowledge, the prophets through Noah, Adam, right, the people of the book, right, but they established their own book, right, to mislead our people and to lead and basically worship them, right. So like that's why in our kingdom, when when we get the kingdom, right, which I hope to be, if I continue to do the right thing, right, the Lord will make me to make us to punish those who has afflicted us, man. Psalms 149:5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds to execute praise of Yahweh in their mouth. Right? So we're going to execute judgment, right? So if you don't want to follow our protocol, our laws, our statutes, our commandments, right? You are going to be punished severely. A two-edged sword in their hand, so a physical sword and first, like the word, right? And if you don't want to execute these stuff, we're going to use the sword, right? The two-edged sword to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with their chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. So you Arabs, you Ishmaelites, right? You're going into slavery, right? You you people over there in Saudi Arabia, over there in Dubai, United Emirates, right? You damn Ishmaelites, right? And you damn people that follow Islam, right? Your leaders are going to go into slavery. You Edomites are going to go down hard, right? Because you have all the wealth, right? The Rothschilds and Rockefellers and these elite banking cartels, man. You guys are going to slavery, man. To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them judgment written. This honor have you all the saints. Yeah, man. You damn Arabs, you Ishmaelites, all you heathen are going to go into slavery, man, under the Israelites, right? This is what our covenant. This is the covenant that we are looking for, right? As hopeful members of the elect. So let's get Genesis. Let's get Galatians 4, and I start at 22. Galatians 4:22, for it is written that Abraham had two sons, the one by the bondmaid, which is Hagar, and the other of a free woman, right, which is Sarah, right? As Sarah just means noble. Basically means, sorry, Sarah means princess, right? And he said, who was the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he that is free woman was by the promise, right? So we're the children of promise, right? Hagar, she had her son Ishmael, right? And Ishmael was just basically a concubine. Hagar was just a concubine to Abraham, right? But the Lord was dealing through Sarah and having her son Isaac, right? Which things are an allegory for these are the two covenants, the one from the Mount Sinai, which gendereth to bondage, which is Hagar, right? So like that's why you damn Arabs, the Ishmaelites is over there. You're doing your Hajj, right? That's nothing but a slave religion, man. But this Hagar is the Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem, which is now and is in bondage under her children, right? Because now these Ishmaelites, they have us in slavery, man, right? But when we establish the land of Jerusalem, the word Jerusalem means city of peace, right? So when Yahweh Shai establishes new covenant, right, and destroys these people through World War III, right, and Yahweh Shai, the angels, coming down through the fathership, right, and the 144,000, we are going to execute judgment, man, and we're going to bind these people into slavery, man. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. So Jerusalem, right, is our motherland, not Africa, right? This is where Adam was, right? Where when he was in the Garden of Eden, this is where Adam was, right? The Fertile Crescent. So this is really our motherland. Like Jerusalem is the motherland, the beautiful land, right? But now that land is cursed because the Israelites are not inhabiting that land, even though some of our people are in that land, but the whole nation of Israel is not there. And there has to be there's going to be a third world war, right? And let's get it in Joel, book of Joel. Is it Joel? Yes, Joel 3:1. For behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. So Judah, starting with Judah, Benjamin, Levi, because Judah is above all the tribes of Israel. Judah is a lawgiver because Yahweh Shai, right, the Heavenly Father, right, we said we all come out the waters of Judah, right? And Jerusalem, I will gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nation and have parted my land, right? So so that whole region, Israel, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, that whole region, the state of Israel, West Bank, Gaza, right? The Lord, the Lord is going to bring the smoke, if you know what I mean. And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot and have sold a girl for wine that they may drink, right? So that happened during the transatlantic slave trade. But even before the transatlantic slave trade, there's a thing known as the Arab slave trade, man. right? We basically started the time of Muhammad, when Muhammad came on the scene, and he went to the to the Vatican, and they established that whole religion, Islam, man, right? And they massacred a lot of our people, and like that's why a lot of our people now, to this day, they're into that whole Islam. They call themselves Shriners. You know, that's nothing but a cult and slave religion, man. They have, yeah, what have you to do with me, or Tyree and Zaidan, right? And all the, so so like Tyree and Zaidan where the Hamites were dwelling, right? You damn Hamite, and all the coast of Palestine. So now you people in Palestine, now you damn Ishmaelites that's in our land, right? So the Lord, he has a the Lord has a beef. The Lord has a beef with you damn Ishmaelites too, man. Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return a recompense upon your own head. So there's nothing that you could do to um to pay. There's nothing that you could do to try bribe or give us money, right? Our money is putting your ass in chains. That's gonna be our money, man. Right? And you're gonna be in slavery, man, for over 1,000 years. And you damn Edomites is gonna be in slavery for over 1,000 years. And you damn Edomites are going to go into you're going to go and stay for 1,000 years, and you're going to be destroyed. Right? That's Obadiah. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temple my goodly pleasant things. Right? So the damn Edomites, right? Because during the time when we were living in the land in Jerusalem, right, and we had the temple, your Babylonians came, right? They put our people in slavery, and then you Edomites came and you burned down our temple, and you took a lot of things, right? So the Lord's, he remembers that, man. The children of also Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians. So the Grecians are, you damn Edomites, right? Because you were because you call yourself the Greeks, starting with Alexander the Great, which was a Edomite empire, right? The Greco-Roman Empire, that you might remove them far from the border, right? Yeah, we're removed, man. Right? We're here in the West, right? Behold, I will raise them out of the place whether you have sold them, and I will return the recompense upon your own head, right? So it's gonna be payback, man. I will sell your sons and your daughters. Yeah, so we're gonna put your ass to work. You're gonna build up our temples, our cities, all that. Your daughter. We're gonna have the best of your daughters, man. You're gonna, and your daughter is gonna be our concubines and damn bedwench, man, into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people afar off, from the Lord has spoken it. So like you Sabians are like you damn Cushites, right? You're gonna be like a taskmaster, over over the Edomites, right? Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't really want to go too long, but the Muslims still have the Israelites in slavery, man. Yeah, so with that, let us say our praise due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, the one who's passed our great milestone, peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.